Welcome into a Thursday edition here of the Jordy Culotta Show, live from the UDL here on this Thursday morning. Lots of stuff to get to. We'll talk to Cody Worsham an hour from now from LSU. We'll talk to Worsham about all of the stuff happening over at the university. We'll highlight LSU football recruiting, some of the newcomers of LSU basketball this season, the impact of Kim Mulkey. Another day, another no hire for LSU baseball.
Telling you.
Hey, it's good for the show.
It's great for the show, but there's got to be where there's smoke, there's got to be a little fire, eh?
Well, I mean, you would think it would be very easy if you had your guy already,
right? And if he's not coaching right now, if it's the guy that everybody thinks it was a few days ago.
Is there actually like the Tim Corbin? Is that actually like people actually kind of think that's possible to get Tim Corbin? Like, why would he leave?
That's a great question.
Where did that even come from?
Well, I think that it's because Scott Woodward is a big game hunter.
And that's a big fish.
And that is a big fish.
That's a big fish.
And I think that those are some of the names that could possibly be in the works right now. So we got a lot to get to here on the Jordy Culotta Show. We'll talk about that. As we said, Cody Worsham will be here in an hour. Looking forward to our conversation with the senator. Rick Ward will stop by here at 7:30 this morning. He is overseeing some of the gambling bill and of the infrastructure bill that came out of the legislative session. So he'll be here at 7:30 this morning with some updates. We'll also talk to Jason Ramazan, who is Mr. Fun over at Mr. Fun's Travel. He's going to stop in and give us a briefing on the latest of LSU, UCLA, all the travel updates. UCLA going full capacity out of the Rose Bowl, what that means for Mr. Fun's travel and trip coming up.
Rick Ross will be
for the first weekend.
Rick Ross, he's lost some weight too. He's getting ready.
Yes.
So has he really?
Yeah.
Has to. I mean, I think he was. There's some concerts out here where he has to take a little bit of a rest.
Oh, if he
and everybody else is. It's not quite the time to do it, but he has to take a sit down.
If he was performing in Louisiana in July, he would have to. I need another
can't
water
do
break.
that.
He can't do it.
Can't do it.
Ain't enough sweat rags.
So we have a lot to get to here coming up on the Jordy Culotta Show. Remember, daily, we're brought to you by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. Stop in and see Lee Carney, Nick Richard, and the entire crew. They're in Laplace, Louisiana. They also have a used car lot here in Baton Rouge at Go Express Auto Sales. Any inventory you're looking for over in Laplace, they can get it to you here in Baton Rouge, so check them out online at Go Chevrolet, GEAUXchevrolet.com. Our coffee daily is brewed by Majestic Coffee. Remember, you can find them online at delicioussips.com.
We got it smelling good
right?
in
Yes,
here.
it is
Not
brewing.
It is brewing.
Smoking in here. And then daily, our anybody who appears via the phone line, our guests, are brought to you by Metropolitan Health Group. Real doctors, real solutions. Charlie Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and the crew over there. As we said, Ramo will be here before we get into the second hour, as he can give us the latest on how you can get involved on the LSU UCLA trip, which is coming up in early September, as the Tigers will kick off their season versus the Bruins.
79 days.
And we think it's a must-win game.
It's absolutely
We're
a
dying on
must-win
that
game.
hill.
Yeah, it absolutely is a must-win game, and not win by the spread, which is 4. It's win by 10,
We got our
14,
swagger
21.
back, throwing dimes.
Yeah, I'm worried about UCLA a little bit the more I think about it.
Are you?
Yeah,
Gotta go
Chip
West
Kelly. Yeah,
Coast.
I just,
Experienced team.
Chip
Well,
Kelly kind of.
It's going to be Chip Kelly's. It's going to be his best team for sure. I still don't think that they can, on the line of scrimmage, will be able to
Ollie Gay,
block
those cats like
LSU
that.
just for 4 quarters. They may catch a couple of series where they can stand them up straight, but as far as being able to block those cats for 4 quarters, I just think that the SEC interior linemen is really what the difference of the league is when you stack them up to teams nationally. And UCLA, while they have a pretty good roster, and it's going to be Chip Kelly's best team since being the head coach there, they still are not right on the lines of scrimmage, where I still think LSU holds a huge advantage in going out there.
But isn't the defensive line play almost contingent on how the offense does? Because if you go 3 and out a bunch of, a series and series and series in a row, those dogs are tired.
Yeah.
Like, they have to be fresh and almost, you want your best dogs to be able to get some rest. And that's been the problem with LSU football when when we've had great defenses, but our offense wasn't up to par. You put them back out there, they're out there for, almost 100 plays a game, and it's hard to stay fresh.
You can make the counter argument when the offense is so good. You kind of saw that in the
Oh,
Joe
yeah.
Burrow year.
I think that
So
shocked everybody.
Yeah, you're scoring so fast. Like, I got to go back out there
Yeah,
again.
I think that shocked Aranda even. That's how quickly they had to do turnaround and when to get the defense ready.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that was one of the storylines within the season that they had to coach against was keeping
boys.
the defense
I'm
a
okay
little
with that.
fresh. Yeah, no, I am too, and I think that there's new coordinators on both sides. So, I mean, I think that's going to be very much a learning experience for not only the fan base and the people watching for the first time, but for Ed Ogeron and the coaching staff. I mean, this is going to be the first time you see Jake Peets and Durante Jones and their scheme and their philosophy inside of a game. And, there will be a learning curve within that first week. I still don't believe that it is a must-win game. I mean, I know what you guys are saying in the sense of you got to, change the momentum and get off to a good start.
Clear the air.
Yeah, I mean, there is a lot of that is in
Without
there.
a doubt.
But you can save the season if you lose against UCLA. You cannot. It would be tougher to save the season if you lose an SEC game.
Like against Mississippi State.
Sure.
What LA program
Specifically
you think
Mississippi State because they're a Western Division team.
What LA program you think's better right now? UCLA or USC?
I think that they're both heading in the right direction again.
Because I was talking
Yeah, I
to
think
someone, I was like,
USC's
if I'm
coming
from the
back.
West Coast, I'm from the LA area, I'm going to go up and play in Oregon. I have no appeal to USC or UCLA right now.
Sure, and I think for a time there, Washington was attractive
absolutely.
for West Coast kids, and now Arizona State has become an option. But now you
They
look
in
up
trouble.
and Herm Edwards and
Yeah, what did they
the
get in
Sun
trouble
Devils
for?
are in trouble, man. They were hosting recruits during COVID-19 dead recruiting periods.
See,
And
I
they
think-
were threatening coaches that weren't on board. They were blackballing them from the facility. So these guys are like, "Hang on, man. I'm just trying to follow the rules. I'm not trying to get in trouble.
Just
in
trying
my
to keep a
trade.
job."
Yeah, right. I got kids. And so now all those guys are singing. All those guys
Oh,
that
I'm
were
sure if they all form a coup against them, that's the easiest way to go. It's like, look, it wasn't us, it was them. But I didn't think. I guess an old dog can learn new tricks. That didn't seem like a Herm Edwards move.
no.
He seemed like such a straight-laced, God-fearing man. But then I guess he gets a little taste of success, and you go back to the old ways.
Come on, man. It's ASU. It just, the devil seeps in there.
Yeah,
He gets
that's
the
a dude.
best of
He
us.
went to the pool one time. He's like, you know what? I'm about them devils.
Yeah, that's right. So to answer your question, I think that they're both coming back. They're both reviving themselves from almost the football graveyard. They're coming back from almost death.
When I was little, like USC Reggie Bush, that was my favorite team of all time.
The best.
Because there was no NFL team really. And, like,
Yeah.
I mean, USC was the place to be.
Oh, they
It
ran
was
Los
awesome.
Angeles. Leinart, Bush.
I mean, they had
man,
Will
it's
Ferrell and
crew.
Snoop Dogg at their at practices consistently. They were doing stuff that just reeked of NCAA violations, but nobody cared because it looked so
Cool.
It looked so cool.
It did.
LA, baby.
It did,
Yeah.
and they ended up getting into some trouble after Reggie Bush's recruitment stories came out.
Do you think the NCAA let that play out for a little bit just
Yes,
because they
absolutely.
knew they just have to wait a little bit, then
Well,
we'll slam the door.
Think about it right now. I mean, think about the NCAA and their footprint in America right now. What was it, just a couple of years ago when Alabama went out to San Francisco and played the national championship game versus Clemson, where Clemson defeated Alabama. I mean, there was nobody there. Nobody cared out in California. I mean, I think that people were looking at that facility saying, golly, college football has almost become just a geographic sport to the southeast. I mean, that's really only
It's hard to argue against that.
it's
Yeah,
really
it
the
is.
only place that people care about it. So absolutely, when USC was as dominant as they were on the West Coast and bringing appeal, interest, ticket sales, merchandise sales to college football out there, the NCAA was no doubt turning a blind eye to what was going on because
the
they
West
looked at it
Coast
as
money.
it was a moneymaker. It was a new stream of revenue that they had not been able to tap into. So yeah, I mean they urge many more locations, the West Coast for teams like Notre Dame to be relevant in college football just because it brings more eyeballs, and I think that's look, you're going to see that with a decision that's going to be made here in the next couple of days and expanding this
12.
playoff to 12 team. This is imminent.
I mean, you gotta get one
This is going to
Pac-12
happen. I mean,
team, man.
there has been so much discussion and push towards this that it feels like the vote in a couple of days is already done. I mean, It's not if, it's when this thing is expanded to 12 teams. And I think that there is a certain push behind that. While it's all done on dollars, they see the money and the opportunity for a windfall. But it's also a chance to open up to different teams in different geographical locations to get into this thing.
Yeah, just
right?
getting in the playoff is appeal for, I'd imagine, a large number of teams. Like, just the fact that you say, like, all right, at least we have a chance to get into the playoff. And I kind of respect the decision makers to just lily pad straight to 12 teams and not, like, pussyfoot around with going to, oh, we'll expand it to 6 or 8. Like, no, we're just going to go to 12, and y'all are just going to have to deal with it. Because 12 doesn't make the most sense, but it does in terms of, like, if this is where we're going to be our sticking point, we're going to put it at 12, and that's going to be it.
Yeah.
You know, a conference is one of the best from the expansion. American Athletic.
Yeah.
Think about it. Where you got Houston, Dallas, Orlando, Memphis, cities like that. They get a new TV contract. You can say you get a chance to play in a college football playoff. I mean, if you're UCF,
Yeah, that's
you're
huge.
going to play,
like
able to play.
Gus Malzahn? I mean, think about his new gig.
He won.
I mean, he is absolutely
And
winning.
he's going to be there forever.
Why would you leave?
Yeah.
Why would you leave?
Finally, no more pressure of the Auburn. Well,
And you can get in.
yeah, he'll
And
be
you
able to
can
get in.
I mean, you get in every 3 or 4 years, and you get a contract extension.
Well, he's used to that.
So it'll be. We'll talk more about that. Obviously, this LSU baseball search, as we said, another day.
It's like Groundhog Day.
Not another hire. No hire made as another day passes here. It seems like it would be very simple if the name was Mike Bianco to hire Mike Bianco, right? I mean, the more that the days continue to move on and there is not an announcement, the more you think that maybe the candidate or maybe the guy at the end of this is still coaching or is still out there. Or there may be more interviews to be had. So
Should we call it in here and then see who's right? Like,
What?
who do you believe is going to be the pick?
I mean, I
say Godwin.
don't know who it's going to be.
But just
I'll go
for
for
fun.
Just a
Vitello.
guess.
Yeah,
fun.
my guess would be Vitello.
I think it's 3.
Godwin.
I think it's Vitello,
You gotta pick
Godwin,
You got to pick
or
one.
Corbin. I'll
Corbin at number 3, huh?
I don't see them going Vitello. I don't see it. I'm gonna say
Too much
I'm gonna say it's Godwin.
I'm Godwin with you. What are you?
I'm Vitello.
Okay.
That's
2
what I
Vitellos,
want.
2 Godwins.
Yeah,
I just don't. I do the more it just doesn't
Do we
seem like an
wager or,
LSU.
like, anything
Doesn't
like
seem
that?
like an LSU
Make
hire.
this
yeah,
fun?
think of something fun.
Yeah,
Oh, come
get to go on a date with Tony if he wins.
Okay.
Change your pick real quick.
So we'll see, man. I think that this thing continues to move on, and like I said, I think it's too big of a job to be vacant for a long period of time. So I have to imagine that there is some behind the scenes deals being made just because of the job at stake here. But as another day passes and no announcement, I believe that some of the smokescreen methods and PR gamesmanship that we have discussed here on the Jordy Culotta show seems more and more relevant, or seems more like it's happening every single day. And like, that is who Scott Woodward is. I mean, I think that would be the most secure thing in our theory in saying that, look, Woodward is not a guy who has a reputation of going out there and making the safe, easy hire. And if it is Bianco and he's the guy at the end of all of this, well, I don't think that it's we're coming down on Mike Bianco. I just think that this is outside of normal negotiation in which you see from Scott Woodward, and usually he's going out there looking for a name, a splash, a big game, a piece of big game. He's a big game hunter. I mean, that's how we've labeled him the entire time, and that's his reputation. So as this coaching search continues to tick on, we will keep you up to date with whatever happens to come out. But it has been very quiet over the last couple of days
Good. I don't know
around
how
this
they
coaching search. But
fix that.
they found the leak. They found who the leak was inside
really?
of the athletic
It
administration.
seemed like it might have been
and
the
they have-
athletic director.
They've kept him out. They've kept him out of all the negotiations. It's very simple to do. I mean, like the stuff that Scott Woodward has come in and instantly changed was stuff that is very PR 101. Is very marketing 101. You know what I mean? It's easy to find out who the leak is when you just bring your some of the people that you may think have loose lips into a meeting give a piece of information out there.
Load out the Pat Casey name and see
who it comes back, who and how it comes back. I mean, it's very easy to smoke this stuff out. And like we've detailed so many times, and I'm not here to dump on LSU because I think that they are making significant strides in changing the direction of the public relations perception or how the PR is run at the university. But there has just been so many examples and so many times over the last decade of LSU being the butt of PR jokes and being pointed at and laughed at from around the country, and continuing not to figure it out. And I think with Woodward's leadership, one of the things that the fan base maybe discounted or did not, put a premium on was his ability to run a public relations department, and in his ability to, even if things aren't going well, his ability to mask it and not allow you in to see just how screwed up it may be.
It's a lot like the Les Miles era, where you can LSU fans got so used to his offense, and everybody around the country this is not how football is played anymore. It's no, this is how we do it. And it's we just do it in spite of ourselves. And all of the fan base they knew it was wrong, and they knew it was not the right way to play football, but we convinced ourselves that's how LSU plays football. So it's so similar to our PR nightmares. Oh no, this is how we do it at LSU. It's I'm sure Woodward came in here and was what the hell is going on?
No,
This
is
how you do it?
But Woodward was also in the industry, so he was able to, he was seeing it from afar. I mean, there were many people that were looking at LSU from their own office and university from around the country saying exactly what you are. What in the hell is going on
How
down
are y'all
there?
making this so hard on yourselves?
How bad can it get? I mean, how bad can the leadership really, really be down there where they just keep sidestepping into shit? They're not even
going out their way.
They're not even meaning to do it. They're accidentally just getting into it every single time that they open their mouth, get in front of a podium, any type of public press conference or ability to promote and sell and market. It was just a bungle. It was laughable. So, I think that Scott Woodward very much understands that part of the job a lot better than we even anticipated as the fan base or people that cover the program. And I think this is a full display of that. There's no leaks. There is negotiation and interviews that are happening behind the scenes that he's taken care of, and he's handling it in his own way, and it's different than the ways that LSU fans have seen. And I'm here to tell you, it's for the better for the university and for the fan base, because the public relations of this thing is now being managed. But don't think that Woodward is not motivated by. And I saw Wes Shin inside of the bunker talking about if Tony Vitello was brought in, that it would make LSU's coaching room the best in the country with somebody like Kim Mulkey, Will Wade, Ed Ogeron, Beth Torina, people like that walk in the halls, and then you add a guy like Tony Vitello into that.
Amazing.
Let me go to that coach's dinner.
Into that coaching building. Don't think that doesn't motivate him. I mean, don't think he doesn't look at his athletic department and say that he doesn't want the stable full of thoroughbreds. I want all of the alphas. I want the alpha in women's basketball, and I want the alpha in college baseball. It's what he is motivated by. That is his intent in running the LSU athletic program, is going and attracting the best. And his reputation says if it costs a couple of extra dollars, he'll pay for it. Mm-hmm. And Vitello and somebody who he may be swinging after right now, that could be where they are.
If it's Vitello, how quickly does that LSU coaching show change? Good luck stepping up to the podium like you thought you would to Paul Maneri and saying what you wanted to off your chest. Vitello comes there and grab you by the neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, oh for sure.
What'd you just say to me?
Well, Kim Mulkey.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
and put up with the bullshit.
Exactly.
So are they waiting to announce this CWS weekend?
I don't know. I don't know what their
strategy.
I don't know what their strategy
End
is.
of the day, Friday.
I don't know what their strategy
is. They wouldn't announce it if it was somebody that's still coaching in Omaha. They wouldn't leak it while he's coaching. And
so you think they would wait?
They would wait until after. You would have to.
But how long can you wait?
Well, I mean, if you got your guy, you can wait forever. I mean, you're telling recruits and you're talking to people that matter, and you're telling them who the person is. They're not telling us, which, I mean, we understand that we want it. We want to talk about it. We want to be able to have it first. But in all reality, that's not what it's about. You know what I mean? That was fun back in the day when you had the Mickey Mouse Club running LSU.
They all wanted just to gossip.
Yeah, they just, I mean, Joe Oliva would get on the radio and tell you who the names were and that he was the search committee. I mean, it was
maybe the most
Mickey
arrogant
Mouse stuff.
thing I've ever heard.
I mean, it was a cartoon. I mean,
So
it was a color.
It was a clown show.
Like, they would tell the recruits, the players, and then hope that didn't leak out.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you don't have to tell everybody,
Right.
but you have to tell the people that matter. I mean, you're telling Dylan Cruz and Trey Morgan, who were named freshman All-American yesterday. You're telling some of the highlighters, some of the headliners in this recruiting class about who the guy is, and they don't want to start any gossip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're not in it for starting any drama or put any names out there. As long as they know and they're secure in what's going on, then that's all the people that need to know on this situation. You know what I mean? Radio stations don't need to know. Newspaper writers don't need to know. Podcasters don't need to know. I mean, people in the public eye that are fighting for this story, while you're probably, and we are probably hovering around the right names, we have no idea who's being interviewed on what day and what's happening and how the timeline on this thing's working. And if somebody wants the job, it's theirs to turn down. I mean, all that stuff is, somebody's being told this stuff that is managing the PR on it.
Yeah.
And that's how they want the story to go. And when you have a good public relations manager, this is what it looks like. And the reason why we're kind of, like, what are we looking at is because we're coming out of a place over the last decade where you've been in, almost PR comedy. I mean, you've been a public relations joke for the better part of a decade. And I think that there was a lot more PR gamesmanship into this negotiation and interview process of this baseball job than we put stock in.
The Pat Casey leak is so good. Such a first class move to be like, and it got everybody in the tizzy.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Weston also said longer it goes on means our coach is in Omaha.
That's what I think.
That makes
I
sense,
agree.
too.
I agree. All right, Daily, we are brought to you here on the Jordy Culotta Show by Go Chevrolet. Remember, online at GEAUXChevrolet.com. We were also brought to you by Falaya Real Estate. Check out Barrett Blondo and what he's got going on over at Falaya Real Estate. Check him out at falaya.com. You can download the app or call him at 939-6153. That's 225-939-6153. If you're looking to sell your home this spring, thinking about trying for sale by owner, then you need to check out Falaya's listing plans, which start at $399. Sell your house for yourself, by yourself, and save thousands of dollars at Falaya. Online, falaya.com, or download the app today. We will talk to Senator Rick Ward out of District 17 next, as he will come in here and give us the latest on how he wrapped up the legislative session with the gambling bill. He carried the funds for the sports wagering bill, deciding where those proceeds will be spent and dedicated. He is also the author of the largest overhaul of infrastructure in the state of Louisiana is bill and has been approved but yet to be signed by the governor, which is what is the concern level on that? We will ask the author of that bill, Senator Rick Ward, here next on the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered daily by Go Chevrolet.
Maybe we can get you a transmission, dude.
Yeah. Take University Auto Care out of business.
Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022, 225-485-8022 is where you can find Hebert's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in Laplace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live on this Thursday morning from the UDL. It is always good to link up with some of our state lawmakers, as we've seen a couple come through here on the Jordy Culotta Show, and been very honored to have them at the UDL. And this morning we open up the UDL to Senator Rick Ward, who is out of District 17 and comes in with a very expansive infrastructure bill that he is going to talk about. And if you were a citizen of Louisiana, if you travel through the state for business, it's as big of a infrastructure bill as our state has seen, and he is the author of it. He also can give us some insight on the gambling funds, on where they're going here after the session. Senator, thank you for joining us. Good to see you.
Thank you all for having me. Been a big fan of the show for a while, so excited to be here.
Thank you very much. We're talking about this LSU baseball hire and just how big it is in the state of Louisiana for LSU fans, and for everybody that follows the program, and for what Scott Woodward is doing. You guys have seen the leadership of LSU up close over the last couple of years, and Scott Woodward being, for people like us who cover it, very much a breath of fresh air.
Oh, he's. I don't think they could have made a better hire than Scott. I think he's done a exceptional job. I'm really watching the baseball hire close. My family's had season tickets since I was in 7th grade. Yeah. And so I'm really excited to see where that direction goes. It's just the LSU baseball atmosphere is so fun. You really want to make sure that you keep that at a very high level. True. And so if anybody can make sure we get the right fit, I think it's Scott.
For sure. Senator Rick Ward is he is the chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee, and we will talk about the infrastructure bill. But real quick, I saw the construction in the Superdome, and the media yesterday was allowed inside of the Superdome to kind of give an update to the ticket buyers and to the public of the construction that's happening inside the dome. And those 12 suite level or field level suites look like they are coming together and that experience is going to be very much upgraded this fall as fans will be allowed back into the stadium to watch the Saints play.
That's right. I mean, look, obviously the whole COVID situation, there was a whole lot of negative that went with that, but I think it did give some opportunity for places like the Superdome to make some moves and upgrade some things that really needed to be needed that facelift. But the whole experience that you'll get with those 12 new suites and the way they're going to be set up, I think it's going to be something special for Louisiana. So
obviously, our sports fans, the people in this state, were paying very much attention to a couple of bills this legislative session. Name, image, and likeness, who we've talked with, to a couple of your colleagues, and then obviously the sports gambling bill, which Representative John Stefanski came in here a couple of times and would give us some updates. And you were a part of that bill because of overseeing where the funds would go. Right. Can you explain your part of the bill?
Yeah, so I worked closely with John. I handled the stuff on the Senate side for both he and Senator Cortez, and in particular on the fund side, we just wanted to make sure that whatever funds came into the state derived from the sports wagering, that we didn't waste it, And so there's really two parts to that. You have a general fund, which that is very necessary to make sure that we have all of our things like higher education and healthcare and all those types of things funded. But then you also have some other things that have been looking for a funding source for a long time, and one of them was early childhood education. And so really the biggest piece of that pie that we dedicated was 25% of the funds that are going to derive from sports wagering are going to go into a fund for early childhood education, and that'll cap out at about $20 million a year. So I don't know that it'll get to the $20 million mark at any time soon, but at least now we know that they have a solid funding source going forward once this thing gets up and running.
And we talked to Stefanski about this, and it seems like this could be up and moving by the fall.
Yeah, so one of the kind of late additions to the bills was a mechanism that allows for, for lack of a better word, a temporary license to be put in place for the purposes of having this up for the fall and football season. And then, of course, once you got through that, you'd have to continue to push forward and get your regular long-term license. But all the feedback we got from constituents and everybody was, please don't tell us you're doing this and then make us wait another 3 years. Mm-hmm. And so we really wanted to make sure that that there was an avenue for this stuff to get up and running quickly, and I think you'll see it happen.
I got to be honest. The sports gambling bill fires me up. It makes me excited, and I think it's a long time coming. And I look at states around us that are competitive to us, and I think, why haven't we not been there? But when I look at your infrastructure bill, that gets me more excited than anything, just because I'm a lifelong resident of Louisiana. I'm from here. I'm a proudful citizen, and I look at the bill that you've offered and see that it is the largest bill approved in transportation in 37 years. And when you dig into it, I've traveled on many of these roadways that could see the upgrades. It's every corner of our state. It is all over the state of Louisiana, this infrastructure bill, and it has still not yet been signed.
Not yet.
Does that concern you as much as it concerns me?
I have a little concern there. I hope that it ultimately gets signed. I certainly can't speak for the governor. To me, it's a no-brainer.
Sure.
Even if you just simply look at the legislature and what the votes were, to do something that significant and to see the bipartisan support for it, it got 38 votes in the Senate, and I think the only reason it didn't get the 39th vote is because we're short a member right now. He just got elected to Congress.
Wow.
So the entire body of the Senate voted in favor of it, and then it got 87 votes in the House. And look, anytime you get north of really 70 votes in the House, it's pretty significant. So, whenever you have the entire legislature come together like that for something this significant, you would think that it would be a no-brainer to sign.
Right. I mean, and like you said, you can't speak for the governor, and I don't want to ask you to, but as a citizen of the state that is run, he doesn't want to be the guy that doesn't sign this, right?
I wouldn't think so. And look, I think some of the concerns, in terms of, well, are we going to take money from healthcare, higher education way down the line in the future? I just don't see that. One of the things that is absolutely vital to those things and funding those things is having the necessary infrastructure to grow your economy and to do all those things. And if we don't take steps to put that in place, then no matter what we do to try and protect healthcare and higher ed and all those things, we're eventually going to run out of money, because as important as those things are, they simply take money from the general fund, and they generate some dollars too. But you really have to have a sound economy and a economy that's growing in order to fund those other necessities as well. And so that really needs to be the focus: is how do we make sure that that our state is growing in a way that we can handle those other things that are expensive.
Can you give an idea to our listeners of just the scope of the bill and how much construction is being discussed?
So just kind of the three headlining projects of it, you're talking about the Mississippi, a new Mississippi River Bridge, and it's really even more than that. It's more of an expressway from I-10 on the west side of the Mississippi River, all the way to I-10 on the east side of the Mississippi River. So it almost creates like a bypass around Baton Rouge. And so, one of the big issues we have is the bottleneck where everybody's trying to pass through Baton Rouge, a large portion of which does not need to even stop in the city. And so if we can get 30 or 35,000 vehicles or more a day to circumvent that, you relieve a lot of the problems we have. So that's for our region. That's kind of the headlining project. Also in there is a new Calcasieu River Bridge, which really on a national level is probably the most important part of this bill, and simply because there's been multiple presidents that have come in and stood in front of that bridge and said, I'm gonna have this rebuilt, and it hasn't happened yet. But if you're driving from California to Florida, you have to cross that bridge, and so if something happens to that D or F rated bridge, if a boat hit it, if anything like that happened and they had to shut it down, you're talking about stopping commerce from the west coast all the way to the east coast,
or the Suez Canal.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And then the third piece is I-49 South that would connect Lafayette and New Orleans, and you're talking about a huge economic development corridor that would open up. Also significantly, there's so many people that leave the Lafayette region and have to drive through Baton Rouge to New Orleans. All of a sudden, those people can leave straight from Lafayette and go to New Orleans, alleviating a whole nother subset of people that no longer have to pass through and congest our city streets. So those are the kind of what we call the mega projects. There's all sorts of other projects that are in the $100 to $150 million range all over the state, and they were really chosen based on what would get us off of a list that has our infrastructure rated as a D right now. And so that's what was targeted. And above and beyond that, there's roughly $100 million that's going to go to preservation of existing roads and bridges, and a lot of that'll help the rural areas, the smaller projects. You have a lot in my district, where you might have this little small bridge with wood pilings that goes out because it's 57 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's not that it's so expensive to fix, but there's just not the money to do 5,000 of them. And so you get put on this waiting list, and in the meantime, it's a 45-minute detour around this one bridge where you can see almost see where your destination is.
What is the timeline on a project like this?
So, in terms of like getting the mega project
Sure.
started?
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
if you started this, how long would this?
So, they're still doing the groundwork for the. If you take the Mississippi River Bridge, they're doing what's called the environmental work, and that has been, they've been doing that for about a year and a half, and they still have a little ways to go. And that is nothing the state requires. That's all federal government requirements. Just to be approved to cross the Mississippi River Bridge, you have to go through all these federal regulations.
Sure.
Typical, But when that is done, then this would be if this is in place, they'll have the funds to get started. And so, a handful of years, I think the Calcasieu Bridge, they're even closer in their effort to being prepared to go once the money's available. And the I-49, that's something that it can start because it can go in stages. It doesn't all have to be let at one time. Like they can do, $150 million section and a $200 million section. They can kind of roll along with that one as it goes. Now, all the other portions of it, as soon as the money starts coming in, they can start doing those things.
I started my first year out of college. I was a lobbyist for a year, and that was over 10 years ago.
Yeah.
And one of the talking points was the I-49 coalition. I mean, it was one of the speaking points there, and it's always been transportation. It's always been the usual suspects. And I was telling Stefanski that people like you and Representative McGee have been a breath of fresh air just because it's new faces, new voices. Do you guys feel the confidence that you can push these issues that have been talked about for so long? We can finally get them pushed through and executed?
Yeah, I think when you look at term limits, I've never really been a huge fan. I came in on the tail end of a lot of experience being there, which was amazing because I got to learn from so many people that had been there for so long, and on the daily routine of the legislature, that is a wonderful thing. But from time to time, I think you see an issue or two where once it's accomplished, you look back and say, had we not had a fresh group of people that were willing to take, I don't even know if I'd call it a risk, but give something an opportunity to work.
Sure.
If you didn't have a fresh group of people, then maybe it would have never happened.
Right.
And so, look, it's been a lot of fun working with. I mean, I could list a bunch of folks, but of course, I've done a lot of fun things with Tanner and John. Paula Davis was huge in this. She filed the initial bill that got all this conversation started, and she's worked really hard on it. So it's a good younger group of folks that I think have a little more of an open mind to some fresh ideas and thoughts on how can we not be last in everything forever.
Amen.
I mean, what's the worst that can happen? We're 48th and 49th. If we take
Amen.
What's the worst that can happen? We're gonna run out of roads,
right? I mean, if we take a little bit of risk, we might end up 30th.
Why not? You know what I mean?
Or we might slip to 50th from 49th. I mean,
Right.
I mean, we're not passing classes right now with our D average. We got to get into the C's.
exactly. So let's take that step forward. Take a little bit of risk.
Get a tutor.
Right. Governor, sign the bill.
Yeah.
For God's sakes, man. Give us new roads. Thank you for what you're doing. How much do you pay attention to the sports concept? Stefanski told me that Kim Mulkey came up there and threatened everybody's life on the name, image, and likeness bill a couple of weeks back.
I was really engaged in watching that. I thought it was a huge thing. I mean, and really for me, beyond just keeping our state and our LSU and really all our universities on a competitive level with other states that are already doing it, but when you look at a lot of the athletes and social media has just changed everything.
Yeah.
I mean, to tell them you have to go sit on the sidelines and not grow your platform, all we're going to do in the long term is people are just going to continue to bypass college because they can go find another avenue to do it where they they can grow their
Right.
image and make money.
Too many options now.
There's too many options. And 20 years ago, those options weren't there. They are now.
Yeah.
And so I think it was extremely important to put something in place that allows those folks to take.
From District 17, State Senator Rick Ward. If you were in West Feliciana, the Point Capee Parish is East Baton Rouge, West Baton Rouge, St. Helena, East Feliciana. He represents you and doing great work. The infrastructure bill, he is the head of the
Architect.
infrastructure committee up there with the Senate, and obviously has a piece on the gambling bill because of where the dedicated funds are going. Thank you for your work. Thank you for stopping by this morning. It's great to see you.
Appreciate y'all having us.
Yes,
Roads.
absolutely. Senator Rick Ward stopping in here in the UDL. We would get him a T-shirt, get him to sign the flag, take a picture, and we'll get him into court this morning as the legislative session has come to a conclusion. But him sharing some of the ideas here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Very much appreciated. Daily, we're brought to you by RMB Builders. Remember, get in touch with Rhett Bourgeois and his crew at rmb-builders.com. Custom-made home. If you need reconstruction, if you need a commercial project, get in touch with Rhett at rmb-builders.com. More of the Jordy Culotta Show. Cody Worsham coming up here in 10 minutes as we will talk what's happening on campus and get back to the LSU baseball coaching search. The Pelicans make a move. Stan Van Gundy on the way out. This will be 3 head coaches for Zion in 3 years with New Orleans. They'll have to get this one right. We'll talk about it coming up here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Thank you, sir. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Well, folks, it's time to kick it old school. So you can feel cool. Give it to me, baby. Baby. Yeah.
Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show. Shout out to our guy, Jesse McCormick over at Capital Partners for setting us up there with Senator Rick Ward as he made the way over here to the UDL out of District 17. Told you the areas that he represents, all the way from St. Helena, West Baton Rouge, Iberville, Assumption, St. Martin parishes, Point Capee, East Baton Rouge, as Senator Rick Ward was in here this morning talking in his expansive infrastructure bill, one that Louisiana hasn't seen the likes of for nearly 40 years. And for whatever reason, Governor John Bell Edwards has not inked that thing yet. Hopefully they can get that done here in the short time. We will talk to Jason Ramazan of Mr. Fun's Travel coming up here before we get out of here at 9 a.m. He's going to give us the latest on how you can be a member
or fun.
Fun.
What?
Fun.
I was hearing funds.
Yeah, I thought it was like.
What is Mr. Fun's? But it's not.
Spell it out. Spell it out loud.
F-U-N-S.
Okay, yeah, it's like a PetSmart situation. I didn't know if it was like Mr. Funds, like you have to pay for it. Like
Mr. Fun.
I've got the funds.
No, he's fun
Or,
and business.
yeah, exactly.
Well, don't let Mr. Fun fool you.
Yeah.
You will have to
pay.
You will have to pay. You
will
will have
take
to.
your
You have to come out with some funds.
You will be Mr. Fund.
Yeah,
But
I'm Mr.
he was,
Fun. He's Mr. Fun.
He's putting the trip together for Southern California to UCLA to Pasadena for the opening weekend of college football, as LSU will be taking on UCLA.
Bucket list trip.
Mr. Fun's Travel. Yeah, I think I'm looking forward to going just because LSU has never played the venue, and I think a West Coast. Just a West Coast trip for LSU is something that you rarely see. I mean, I think the last one was what?
Washington.
University of Washington. Yeah, I mean that was in
When was
2010.
I wish I was in school for Jake Locker, right?
Yeah, it was Locker. Yeah,
Jake Locker was up there.
We didn't play well, but LSU won.
But they won the game.
Yeah.
Won the game. A typical Les Miles.
Yeah, it was. It was such
Just a
trash.
typical Les Miles.
If you're an NFL
game.
scout, you should have seen Jake Locker get swallowed up there and been like, he probably shouldn't be a top 10
I
pick.
had
But
a Jake Locker poster in my room.
Wow.
I got like Sports Illustrated kids, and they'd always have like player magazines. He was so good, and I had him in my room.
I'll throw
I
Locker
sucked.
up. Gritty. I mean, he's Taysom Hill before Taysom Hill.
Yeah, it was huge.
He just wasn't warm.
Big athlete. So we will talk to Jason Ramazan and Mr. Fun
Fun.
about his impending trip.
If people
coming
are
up.
asking, it's a good
I hear you,
question.
I hear you. MrFunstravel.com. Check it out. Mr. Fun,
Other people asking.
This brain's asking.
Mr. Fun's Travel.
But go to MrFunds.com and they're asking for my credit card a lot. Trying to get to Pasadena.
Speaking of asking for a credit card, is Stan Van Gundy because you owe him a ton of money on the way out.
What a boondoggle.
I am losing so much faith every single day in David Griffin.
And it seemed to be a home run when the Pelicans brought him in.
It was such a home run when Griffin was brought in. But I did think that it was a bit concerning where he was so worried and always was talking about the ancillary parts of the program, right? The breathing methods, the nutrition center, the trainers, everything that went into building the program of an NBA basketball team, where I believe that is very, very important. I think that has to be a bullet point that is high on your list if you are a president of operations, a general manager, somebody in a decision-making mode, this position of an NBA team. But Griffin was always talking about that when he was first introduced. And when it came to the basketball stuff, the first team that he put together in the draft, the draft class was very exciting. But then when you saw it on the floor, it didn't work out in year one. And this is the year that Griffin is here, and he extends Alvin Gentry for a year. He calls Alvin Gentry the only man that can handle coaching Zion in year one and handle this vision that Griffin sees. And then after a year, he fires him. And he fires him to make a move for Stan Van Gundy. And I don't know about you, but when the Van Gundy move was made, an enormous red flag went up for me on David Griffin, where it is someone who wants to talk this new age development of the basketball player by making sure that you are open and can deal with the entourage and the people that come with him and make sure that he's eating the best food in the facility and getting the best training methods and breathing techniques.
Very Chip Kelly Eagles.
It was very
much
college football.
Very college. Feels very college. But then once it's time to make the move on the floor, you're going to go get Stan Van Gundy.
The opposite of
Zion's
innovation.
second year. A guy who has everywhere he's been has rubbed either the administration or the superstar wrong. Has not been able to adapt and really be accepted by his team, and very, really and truly, frankly, well liked within the league. He's got a reputation of somebody that is hard to work for, hard to play for, constantly on your back, constantly breathing down your neck, and very demanding. And not saying that a guy cannot be demanding in the NBA, but really and truly what you're looking for, in my opinion, as an NBA coach, is nothing but a personality manager.
Tyronn Lue.
Is nothing but Tyronn Lue. Is nothing but somebody that can come in and manage the personalities and put these guys in game-winning situations at the end of it to win the game. I mean, the NBA is nothing but the last 6 minutes of the fourth quarter. I mean, did you see the Atlanta-Philadelphia game last night? I didn't, because I turned it off at the end of the third quarter thinking that it was over, only to wake up to see that Atlanta had won the game by 3 this morning. But that is the NBA. Forget the playoffs or regular season. It's coming down to the fourth quarter, and you've got to have a guy that can draw up a couple of scenarios to get somebody like Zion open. And as long as you are mindful enough to get him into a situation of a good roster, who that is David Griffin's responsibility, to provide the head coach with a competitive roster, which over the first two seasons of him being on the job, they're in the lottery for the third straight year. And the Van Gundy hire to me was so red flag, just what is he even thinking?
That shouldn't have been on the radar.
That he shouldn't even have been discussed as a guy that could come in and coach Zion in his second year.
I swear, in the coaching business, if you get fired, you somehow always get a better job.
Isn't it so similar to the NFL, where all of these you see all the names like
recycle
yes, exactly. They recycle all of these names, like they stay in coaching forever, and then another coaching cycle goes through. It's like, oh, I'll take him.
Scott
like he's still
Linehan.
around. Like Scott, yeah, exactly. It's such a fraternity of all of these guys that they don't trust anybody outside of their little coaching circle. And this is I think you would agree here that the Pelicans are in a spot where almost LSU baseball is, where it's kind of time to innovate.
Well, if they don't, it's over. Because they are 1 year away. Zion's contract comes up next summer.
And
he can opt out. And he told you everything he wants after that Knicks game. I mean, what else do you need to see? That was as much evidence as when Anthony Davis bought the house in Bel Air. I mean, like, what else do you need to see? What else do you need to hear? I mean, the guy is counting down. He's Xing the days off the calendar until he can get to New York at this point.
So are there rumors for a new coach for who's going to replace him?
I don't know who it's going to be. I mean, I guess there is some names that you can revisit from last year's, coaching search. I mean, he was in this scenario a year ago. He interviewed names like Fred Vinson, who's an assistant in New Orleans under Monty Williams. Jacques Vaughn is an assistant up at Brooklyn. Charles Lee is somebody who's impressive. He's only 36 years old, who has got a European resume. He's worked with Mike Budenholzer and coaches in the league. I've always been an advocate for Becky Hammon. I think that Becky Hammon, Teresa Weatherspoon is on
she got a lot of
the
run
New
yesterday.
Orleans Pelicans roster right now.
Who's Becky Hammon?
Becky Hammon is a former basketball great, and she is I believe a 6-year assistant under Greg Popovich in the San Antonio Spurs.
Okay.
First ever female assistant coach in the league. She's interviewing this week for the Portland Trailblazers opening.
For a head coaching position there?
For the head coaching position. And when Popovich missed extended time over the last couple of years, she ran the Spurs. She ran the bench of the Spurs. And she is somebody that is very relatable. She's a great personality manager, which I think is A1 for this job. first thing you need to be. And Weatherspoon and Teresa Weatherspoon may have the same feeling around her. I don't know as much around Weatherspoon, the coach, as I do Becky Hammond, the coach. Weatherspoon was a first ballot Hall of Fame player. But I think somebody like that makes an enormous amount of sense. You've got to think outside the box, first and foremost, in the city of New Orleans. You're a small market.
Yes.
You can't really play by the same type of rules of everybody. You got to be a little different. You got to stand out. And especially when you have a guy like Zion in his contract season. I'm telling you, if the New Orleans Pelicans screw up the next year, the basketball life of the NBA is over. Mm-hmm. They're going to Seattle.
Without a doubt.
If they lose Zion, there's no way Magic can strike 3 times for you. Mm-hmm. You can't go from Anthony Davis to Zion Williamson to the next best thing. Yeah. You've had 2 opportunities in a small market to really build this thing around somebody who could be the face of the league. And Zion more than Anthony Davis. Mm-hmm. And you've given him 3 coaches in 3 years, and he's lost interest. If you don't get this thing right today, right now, over the next week, everybody in New Orleans under that Pelicans umbrella is done. Everybody. The whole franchise is moving. I mean, this is what this move, that's the feel of this move. That's the pressure of this decision is, do you like basketball in New Orleans? You do? Okay, well, you better get this coach hire right. Because if you don't, the franchise is leaving. And I'm not talking about the Pelicans moving city. Zion Williamson is leaving your franchise, and he is going to New York. He's told you that.
I'm glad you said that. I thought I was being hyperbolic, just thinking, like, they might just go to Seattle if they mess this up. And that's why I'm thinking Becky Hammond. She's a great coach, but to your small market, you got to be outside the box. Think about it. Zion was hurt this year. He missed a lot of games. They still got 35 primetime games just because of Zion in the second smallest market in the NBA. If you get Becky Hammond, 1, she's a great coach, and 2, she's going to be the first woman coach. That's going to get a lot of buzz with Zion Williams.
Think outside the box. You got to think outside the box.
And also, I like where she comes from, coming from Spurs, which is the small market. And she can relate to being in New Orleans and understanding how the Spurs way. Like, you have to do it differently if you come into a small market, which she can do. And also, that's what I thought about if Chauncey Billups gets a shot, because he did exactly what Zion's going through right now in Detroit. Like, we built a small market dynasty, essentially, so I can kind of navigate these rigors that you're going through of being a superstar in a small market and get you going.
All right, let me call Cody Worsham here. We're late for Cody. I want to tap into him. He's another guy who can give
he would have a thought.
Good insight on this. As if you want to give me a little volume here.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, buddy. Sorry we're a little late. We got going on this Pelicans coaching search, and just how monumental this is for basketball in New Orleans. This next decision that David Griffin makes. You're a hoop head. You're somebody that you and I go back and forth on all levels of basketball. We definitely feel, we were talking here on the show, we definitely feel like Zion has not been given the support that he needs here in the first 2 years. What do you make of how big this hire is?
Oh, it's huge. You know, you're already working behind the 8 ball. Having I wouldn't say wasted a year. I don't think it was a wasted year, but it's certainly a year that you can't get back. So it's huge. I think everyone feels like this, where we've seen this happen with Anthony Davis before. We don't want to see that happen again. And then you've also seen, like, the other context I keep thinking of is we've seen how successful Monty Williams has been outside of the franchise. So I think you have to be aligned. I think that's the most important part for David Griffin, is to make sure that there's alignment from ownership through the front office, through the head coaching spot, and then the most important part that I think was missing from Stan Van Gundy was alignment between coach and roster. And so everyone's got to be on the same page. That's the hard part of kind of threading this needle. So it's hugely important they get it right. They get it right this time, because while you do have a certain level of player control with, the contracts and bird rights and all that stuff that I don't fully understand. I know you can keep those guys around for a while, though, because you can offer more money than anybody else. But the clock's ticking, and you got to get going and capitalize, because you don't get Zions every decade. The Pelicans were lucky to get him, and so they got to make sure they maximize the talent around him while he's there. The thing that gets me is, like, I watch what like Atlanta has done with Trey Young,
Yeah.
and like Atlanta was not. I mean, I know they had some success when they had like the 4 All-Stars with Corver and Horford and that kind of crew, and they were kind of seen as overachievers and had the 1 seed that year. But they're not like a franchise with consistent success. But they've built well around Trey Young, and like that's the model. You've got to build well around your young superstar, and I'd love to see the Pelicans get there. I don't know. This year was kind of a step back, so hopefully they can right the ship. I do like that it was a decisive move though, and that they've made the decision and they're moving forward.
Well, I think it shows you just how dire it is over there. Like they had to make the move. I mean, you look at a model like Memphis, and where the Grizzlies are is built around Ja Morant, and I mean they brought in a guy like Taylor Jenkins. I had no idea who Taylor Jenkins was, and I said that I don't mind at the NBA's opening press conference of a head coach if I don't know who my guy is. I mean I can't stand these retreads that you bring in that you expect to get production from. Cody Worsham, who is the sports digital media reporter over at LSU, is also the communications director in crisis and strategic management. Cody, and there's a lot of new things that are happening over at LSU, including a sit-down that you had with Jack Marucci yesterday that I thought was very, very cool, that you can find on the latest podcast that you have published. But Jack Marucci is a staple of LSU and widely considered within not only the LSU community, but the sports community as one of the brightest minds as far as innovation goes. Talk about what he's working on here, the latest project that he's working on here at LSU.
Yeah, so the news with Jack is he's been moved into a new position. Let's see if I get the title right, because our titles at LSU seem to be getting longer and longer as you just
I noticed that.
He's the director of performance innovation. But basically what that means is, Jack's been the head athletic trainer for 25 years, and they're going to take the athletic training portion, the taping of ankles and the, assessing of injuries off his plate and let him focus on the innovation and the work that he's done in that space. And I think a lot of people are familiar with a sliver of that work. The example that I wrote about in 2019 was the eye tracking technology they did with the receivers, where they had to catch 10,000 balls over the summer, and they tracked their eyes when they were catching passes and figured out which guys were right eye dominant, which guys were left eye dominant, how that affected what routes they were best at. But Jack's done a lot of projects like that. We talked about on the podcast that you referenced last year when Jay Ward blocked the field goal against Arkansas to sort of seal that game. That was something that they had studied with some motion tracking technology and some reaction time testing, that Jay Ward was the fastest player on the team coming off of the edge on that particular side. And so as they were preparing for Arkansas, they noticed on the left side of their field goal protection a little bit of delay there from the protection side. And so they thought, we can put Jay Ward there and he's going to get one. And if you remember that game, I think he almost got an extra point right before that. And then he came and got a field goal at the end. So it's basically, finding data-driven solutions, technology solutions. And Jack, whether it's been building a bat company from scratch, or we talk about like this project he picked up over COVID, like carving these wooden bowls that look like football stadiums. They're like little mini wooden replicas. He's just got a solution for everything, and he's curious. And he's good at recognizing patterns or trends and then figuring out ways to measure things the right way, which is a really valuable skill. Like, for example, when you measure an athlete's performance in football, like typically we've used the 40-yard dash or the vertical, and all that's great. But LSU realized, and Jack realized, like, I want to be able to measure, like, how quickly can a guy respond to a stimulus? How quickly can a guy change direction? How quickly can a guy make an adjustment? And so they partnered with this company called S2 Cognition, where they like study cognitive processing. And one of the things we talk on the podcast, you see us going through the numbers on the YouTube version of it, like how Joe Burrow, before the season, before his breakout record-setting historic season, they did the cognitive testing, and they were like, this guy's about to have a huge season because his cognitive testing is off the charts. Like, his ability to improvise is off the charts. His ability to to change direction quickly, off the charts. His ability to not be impulsive, to stay with his decisions, off the charts. So it's measuring things that maybe we could see with our eyes before and recognize, but not find a measurement for. And that's important, because if you can measure something, you can adjust it. You can work on a weakness. You can shore up a strength. And so that's going to be Jack's focus, is a lot of those kind of projects. We talk about some specifics, some stuff he's doing with the receivers and linebackers, offensive line over this summer. But it's going to make an impact. It already has in his time here, and now it's going to be his full-time thing, and it's going to make a huge difference for LSU football.
There's a lot of whispers about Ernie Adams with the Patriots, and it seems like Jack Marucci is kind of built in that mold of operating between the margins. Is this something that other schools have in their facilities, that the other teams have at Jack Marucci? Because it feels like the Patriots are the only teams with an Ernie Adams.
Yeah, no, there's only one Jack Marucci. There may be someone in a similar-ish role. I don't think there is. I think this is kind of a first. And the good thing is, Jack's going to be applying this work across the entire athletic department and all of our teams. He's still going to be housed in football ops, and it's still going to be a primarily football operation. But, sort of the natural evolution of this is being able to take what they're doing with football and applying it elsewhere. So, for example, one of the things I talked about was the reaction time testing. One of the guys who tested off the charts on that was obviously Jamar Chase, right? Well, they did it with beach volleyball, and they found out that Kristen Nuss, who just finished up an undefeated season and is now playing professionally, had like Jamar Chase level reaction times. And they found like some weaknesses. They worked on those. They found some strengths, built those up. And so another example is like after the eye tracking technology, me and Jack had a conversation. I think this was on a podcast. I can't remember. But I talked to him about I'd worked with a shooting coach in basketball once that had he had tested my eye dominance. I had never thought about that before as a shooter in basketball, but he told me, hey, you're actually right eye dominant, not left eye dominant. Move the ball in your shooting pocket a little bit to the side so you can clear up your dominant eye. And Jack thought that was amazing. Brought it to the women's basketball team. They did some work on it, and they saw some percentage increases with their free throw shooting. So it's taken these ideas that, other times where he would have been treating injuries or doing athletic training. Well, now he's able to expand these ideas within football and then outside the athletic department. Look, if there's anyone else in the country doing that in college football and college sports, I don't know about it. But the real advantage is Jack himself. Like he's a brilliant thinker. He sees things that other people don't. He figures out ways to quantify things that other people can't quantify. And then he presents it this is the most important part. He's got such a good relationship with the coaches and the players that he can present that information to them in a way they can use it. Like it's no good to have the information and not be able to do anything with it. It's no good to have data and be like, hey guys, hey, Ward, you're fast coming off this edge. Okay, great. Like, how do I apply that? He's able to go to the position coach. He's able to go to Greg McMahon and say, hey, you may want to try this. Or the coaches will come to him and say, hey, like Jack, I'm having Corey Raymond comes in and says, hey, we're having trouble with the safeties tracking the ball in the air. What can we do? And they figure out a solution. They figure out a way to test it. They figure out a way to measure it. And then they figure out a way to fix it. So it's a collaborative process, and Jack's the best at it.
You talk a lot about cognitive testing, eye tests, stuff like that. Is there any resistance from type of old coaches where it's, no, we're going to do deadlift, squats, lift heavy weights, stuff like that, like the old traditional way?
No, there's not. Tommy Moffitt's a big driver of this. I think the way they got connected with S2, I think it was S2. It may be one of the other companies they work with, but I think it was S2, was through Tommy Moffitt. They'd had a connection with that company, I think, from a previous institution or a previous working relationship. And so that was the initial connection. And, a lot of schools use this kind of technological stuff, but I think the difference is the question that you just asked, and sort of what I teased in my last answer, is that there's this sort of universal buy-in because everyone trusts Jack, because he's earned that trust over 25 years. And so they take what he says to the bank and apply it. And it's across positions. It's, Greg McMahon is not a new school, 30-something coach. He's been around for a while, but he's willing to adapt and change some things based on what Jack gives him and presents him in terms of data. There's another thing that me and Jack talked about field goal kicking, where he noticed something about, and he did this intensive study on, which hash a kicker was on, and in what quarter of the game they were on that hash. And basically, if you go to the Florida game, Jack felt really confident in Cade York because I think he was, I'm going to give the details wrong, but he was in an advantageous spot on the field in terms of the hashes for his long kick. And then when Florida stepped up to kick it, I think he was on the right hash, and Jack had noticed in the fourth quarter the guys on the right hash struggle more kicking it, right? And so it's little things that we all kind of, maybe we don't all see, but some of us see, or some of it's intuitive, or some of it is just a gut feeling. But he takes that gut feeling and dives deeper and then gives you data to either confirm it or to disprove it, and then gives you a path to apply it. And that makes all the difference. I mean, there's a million stories. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire went to Jack one day and said, "Hey, I love the angle route. Can we test it?" And they tested Clyde's ability in the angle route to see the ball, to change direction. They saw something special. Steve Insminger, again, not a new school coach, definitely more of an old school coach, said, "Yeah, I'll do that. I trust you, Jack. I trust you, Clyde." They put it in the offense, and it was a huge success. So it's that trust and buy-in that I think is really special.
Wow.
Just doesn't sleep.
That's awesome.
He's the coolest cat in the room too. He's like the quiet, cool dude in the corner that you go and talk to, and you're like, I mean, who knew?
What else do you
Who
know?
knew? This guy's
What aren't you
unbelievable.
telling us?
Cody Worsham, he is the host of Tigers Win, the Boot Up and Hay Fightin' podcast that you can all check out at lsusports.net. Some of those conversations here recently have been with the new additions to the LSU football staff, and one thing is for certain is that Ogeron's group has become, you and I were talking a little bit about Stan Van Gundy and his replacement and the ability to be able to communicate to these guys at this level. It seems like, if nothing else, that they have gotten very good at the levels of communication between coach and player and the new guys that they have brought in. What has stood out to you in your conversations with the new faces inside of the coaching community for LSU football?
Yeah, it's unbelievable. Those guys are really, really sharp. The most recent ones that I talked to were on the defensive side with Durante Jones, Andre Carter, and Blake Baker. And, for me, this is me coming from like a selfish content perspective, and y'all will get this because of what y'all do, but you're always looking for guys who are engaging and can carry a conversation and can talk about things beyond football. And obviously you want to tie it back into football, but you want to kind of branch out a little bit. And all those guys are just so, well-rounded and have interests outside of football and can connect to you in a human way. Like, if they can sit down with me, a 32-year-old, father of two, and, kind of I would classify myself as a pretty boring dude. Like, they can sit down with me and have a great conversation and connect with me on a few topics that I care about. I know they can sit down in a living room or in a coach's room or position room with 18 to 21-year-olds and connect with them over football and their experiences and their interests. So it's a special group. That there's definitely a feeling of youth and tying in with some of the stuff we were talking about with Jack, of innovation and willing to try things and willing to be open-minded. But most importantly, I think there's just like a closeness and like you mentioned, a communication. They connect with people in a really special way, and I've heard that from everybody. I've heard it from players. I've heard it from other coaches. I've heard it from administration. Like, they kind of fit right in. And if nothing else, it's good. It's good positive energy. It's good. It's good. Team chemistry. It's getting everyone on the same page. But I think there's more value too. I think they know football. I think they know how to coach. I think they have new ideas. Because I think that kind of thinking where you can be open-minded and sit down and have a conversation with anybody from any walk of life, I think that makes you, I think that reflects a certain type of thinking that applies to football too, and being willing to adapt and being able to recognize problems and find solutions. So I'm excited to see him in play. The biggest question is just experience, but I think there's so many other experienced minds around, whether at the analyst level or Coach O. Obviously, he's been in the coaching game for almost 40 years now. There's plenty of experience there. I think just some fresh ideas and some youth and some novelty. I think it's injected some real energy over there.
Neil Farrell just woke up and said and tweeted, "Wait, I went to sleep with the Hawks getting blown out. I woke up and the Hawks won." How? We had the same feeling here this morning, Neil. Don't feel bad. I said the same thing when I woke up. You had a great tweet remembering Paul Mainieri when he decided to step down a couple of weeks ago, or just over a week ago, and made the announcement that he was retiring. You covered him. You have worked alongside him over the last couple of years. How did that announcement hit you?
Yeah, it hit me a little bit different because I was a little involved behind the scenes, trying to plan out his press conference and the announcement and rolling it out and that sort of thing. And the reason it hit me different is because when you're on the outside, or I've been on the outside covering the team and the media, and maybe you have a little bit of skepticism, or maybe you hear something and you're like, well, that's not the real story. And with Paul Mainieri, that just from the day he arrived at LSU to the day that he announced his retirement and his final day coaching for LSU, that was never the case. Like, he told you what he felt. He told you the truth, the unvarnished truth. I remember the day that he was going to announce his retirement, and we were just kind of going over, hey, talking point, I wasn't giving him anything. He was just kind of talking through it with me. And he was just so appreciative, and almost the humility of, like, I don't want to make a big deal out of this. Like, this isn't about me. It was all really authentic, and just, more specifically, like his relationship with Bill Franquez, for example, who's been his SID since he got at LSU. And he was just he kept saying thank you to Bill, and Bill, if there's anything else I can do for you, let me know. It was just this servant's mentality, this humility, this grace, this class that I think we all see it in some form or fashion, but we also get it mixed up with our sports opinions. Oh, he should have changed pitchers here, or he should have won the national championship this year, or he should have done this thing differently. But when you step away from that and just look at the humanity, I mean, just what a representative, and what a classy, caring, passionate man who loved the game and really respected the game of baseball. Just respected it, loved it, cherished it every day he was there, never took a day for granted, and treated people around him really well. If we get, whoever replaces him, if we get somebody that loves LSU as much as Paul Mainieri and loves the game as much as Paul Mainieri, we're going to be in great shape. So, me and Paul weren't super close, but we were, he treated me so well in every interaction that we had, and made me feel like I was really important to the work that he was doing. And if he did that for me, I know he did it for everybody else around LSU. So he just a great guy. I could talk about him all day. He's the best. I'm gonna miss him. But congratulations to him, obviously, on a great career, because he had the career that everyone would dream of. Like, if you told a coach that's 22 years old today, hey, and getting into coaching, hey, this is going to be your career. You're going to win 1,500 games in a College World Series and worked at LSU, and this is the place your career is going to take you. Everyone would jump on it, like no hesitation. So I think it's important to keep that perspective and just remember what a great coach he was, and what a great representative of LSU in Louisiana he was.
Have you had a chance to, I know you're very busy during the day, but have you had a chance to get over in the afternoons and catch any of these pickup games that I hear are going on in the practice arena with this new basketball roster?
So I haven't been over there yet, but now that you're putting it in my ear, I might send a couple text messages and get over there. But I've talked to some people and had some conversations, and in the spirit of not oversharing, I can tell there's some real excitement about the makeup of this team, both mentally and sort of their approach to the game, but also physically. Like, one of the conversations I had, and I'm sure you've had this conversation, Jordy, was like how Efton Reed carries himself, like physically, but also like the way he works. But he doesn't look like a 7-footer. He moves like a 6'4", 6'5" guy, but he's 7 foot, and he's got some skill to him, and he's got some athleticism to him. Adam Miller, the way that just physically he's ready. Like, they don't have to work on him. He's ready to go, and has that similar kind of work approach to the game. So I think they've got a good balance of sort of the physical balance of the team. There's really no gaps to fill, as there's been in the past roster wise with certain body types. They've got every kind of body type they need, but also there's a real workmanlike approach to this team. And I need to go see them, because the things I've heard are really good, but I want to see with my own eyes.
Cody Worsham from LSU. Check out all the podcasts. They're easy to find at lsusports.net, as they are great conversations with everything that's going on at LSU, whether it's the new faces on the football staff, Jack Marucci in his new role, or just catching up with what's happening on campus. Cody Worsham is a great outlet for that over at lsusports.net and on social media. Thank you as always. We'll talk soon, man.
All right, y'all. Thanks.
All right, man. There's Cody Worsham checking in this morning. Daily, we're brought to you here on the Jordy Culotta Show by Edward Jones, our friends over there, Daniel Newman, daniel.newman at edwardjones.com. Remember, if you need a financial advisor, and Daniel Newman is going to be fired up about this LSU basketball team, as we have heard.
Good afternoon, Reed.
Unbelievable. Yes, I have.
Off the bounce
yes, the jumpers. But if you need help with your finances, if you are looking for advice on your 401k, your Social Security, anything that Daniel can help you with, take it from us. This is a firsthand testimony. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com, specifically if you're working out in the plants, Exxon, Dow, BASF, any of the plants that you may have questions about your finances. Let Daniel Newman help you out. Daniel.Newman at edwardjones.com. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. Jordy at jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard.
Seven, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.
All right, welcome in. Welcome back here to the Jordy Culotta Show, live and presented daily by Go Chevrolet, online at GEAUXchevrolet.com. We're gearing up for a trip to Southern California here the first weekend of September. We'll be headed out there for LSU UCLA, and we're going on Mr. Fun's travel The travel is online, MrFundsTravel.com. That is FUNS travel.com. No D.
No D. No fund. Fun.
But you will have great prices over at MrFundsTravel.com. And speaking of Mr. Fun, Jason Ramazan is here. Ramo, good morning. How are you, buddy?
Man, I'm doing well. What an honor for my first appearance on the show. What a day to be alive.
Unbelievable it's taken this long, Mr.
We
Fun.
wish you were here in person.
Mr. Fun.
I don't know what's taking so long here. I mean, we're both Parkview grads, and you got a Mississippi State girl on that show. I don't know what's taking so long for me.
That's right. Only one of us a Hall of Famer over at PBS, though.
Yeah, we got to work on that.
To think how in the hell that happened. Ramo, tell us about you've done this. You've done many of these. I've traveled on. I went to the Disney World trip with LSU basketball a couple of years ago, which was fantastic. And it is not only is it flights and travel from the airport to the hotel accommodations, but then everything when you get there, I think is maybe lost on the buyer that you've got buses chartered to get you to the games, to the stadium and back. This is very much a very detailed and organized on-doing that you put on at Mr. Fun's Travel. You have one coming up for UCLA and LSU. I know which is very exciting for LSU fans. Give us the details on it.
Yeah, we're really excited, and obviously they just made the announcement that the Rose Bowl is going to be at 100% capacity as well, and so that's great news for Tiger fans. I know they're going to take over. We're going to take over Los Angeles, much like we've taken over Syracuse and Orlando and all these other places we've gotten to go to. So I'm not sure if the LA community is quite ready for what the Tiger fans are going to bring to them, but I'm not saying anything. So and I appreciate what you said about the trips. We talk about bringing a first class trip where we handle all the details, and you sit back and relax and enjoy yourself, and that's what it's all about. I've been doing this for a long time, having worked at the Alumni Association with the Traveling Tigers, and we started Mr. Fun's Travel. We take care of everything for you from the moment you check in at the airport. We basically say, check that luggage and we'll see you in LA. And we get you on the charter flight, which is a nonstop charter flight out of Baton Rouge, straight into LAX. When we arrive, we take care of your baggage for you. You get on a bus, you go to the hotel. Now we've got two options in LA. We've got a Hollywood option and we've got a Santa Monica option. And so we try to make these trips appealing to all age groups, families, those with kids, those without kids, those that like to spend a little bit more money. But yeah, we take care of it all. Game tickets are included, hotel accommodations, game day transfers, a tailgate party. Everything's included, and we make it as easy as possible. And I have to be honest with you, the prices are affordable. When you start looking at commercial flights out of New Orleans, they've got some, but you got to fly at 6 a.m. or 7 p.m. Our flight's going to be a midday flight on Thursday, straight out of Baton Rouge, nonstop, and we take care of everything. So we say you go with the pros when you go with Mr. Fun.
MrFundsTravel.com. That is Mr. MRFUNS Travel.com. MrFundsTravel.com to book your spot today to Pasadena.
How many spots do you have open, Jason?
Yeah, so we the plane. It's a rather large plane, to be completely honest with you guys. We probably have another 40 to 50 spots that I'd like to sell where I feel comfortable. We've sold over 100 so far.
Wow.
And we're happy with where we're at. I think that we've sold more in the last 2 or 3 days than we had sold in the previous 2 or 3 weeks, just because I think of the announcement. Announcement that people, there's been a lot of hesitancy do we really want to go to Southern California with everything that's going on? From everything I've been told, Southern California is back open, and restaurants are open, and the hotels are ready for people, and UCLA is the Rose Bowl is Pasadena's ready for LSU fans. There's going to be one big tailgate party. It's not going to be a bunch of different ones. We're going to partner with the LSU Alumni Association and do a big tailgate party. It's going to be one big block party, essentially. I know that the Alumni Association is working out those details right now, and we're excited to be partnered with those guys. They do a fantastic job. Their trip sold out very, very quickly, and so there's going to be a lot of purple and gold and UCLA and in Pasadena in a couple weeks.
You have a deadline on this for people to get involved?
Yeah, we'd like to try to sell this thing out probably by the middle of June, end of June. July, not June, July. That way we can, if for some reason we can't sell this charter out, we'll start working with people on commercial flights. But our plan is to sell the charter, and we're partnered with Total Sports Travel, who does a fantastic job on trips. They've been doing this for a long time. They've worked with LSU Athletics in the past, and they do it first class as well. And so I wouldn't partner with anybody else that doesn't do this the way that Mr. Funds Travel. Our standards are very high. So, we expect to be sold out.
Make sure and hit the website, Mr. Funds Travel. Everything is detailed right there, all the prices, the packages, and you can book it right there online, just like we did. We are looking forward to that trip. We are grateful that we are included in the trip to Pasadena, and thank you for letting us promote the message for you, Jason, and keep up the great work. Thank you, and tell Charlie Harvey hello.
I certainly will. Thanks, guys. Y'all have a great day.
All right, there he is, Jason Ramazan, checking in from Mr. Funds Travel this morning, giving us the latest update on his trip to Pasadena.
I don't think they know what they're getting into.
LSU. Party. We're gonna start a forest fire.
Yeah, I don't think California is ready for this. They just come out of hiding. They just get out of quarantine, and then they get, this is the neighbor that knocks on your door.
Yes.
Like, I didn't want to hear from you at all.
Full capacity.
Oh, what is that? I mean, in 2019, I went to the Vanderbilt game, and they were out of booze by the first half. And like, we went and got mimosas at some bar, like, early, and they're like, y'all want vodka and the orange juice? Like, what do y'all think this is? Like, y'all get with the pros, dude. What are we doing here? So, I mean, and that's a Nashville. That's a big city that drinks. This is going to be a disaster they're going to look at it.
What is it, a night game?
It's 5:30 kickoff out there.
They're going to look at us like we have three heads.
I'll start drinking at 6:30 in the morning.
It's going to start all day. We're like, I can't believe the sun's still up.
It's going to be a beautiful fall day.
Just drink through that jet lag.
Probably be 70 degrees out there.
It will be perfect weather.
It's going to be beautiful.
I'm trying to get in.
Get over there, MrFundsTravel.com. Book your trip at MrFundsTravel.com.
I need five spots, though. It's a lot for us to travel.
That is.
Get Noah to babysit the house. He'll be fine.
He's found his career.
Yes.
My man has hit his ultimate goal in life.
Got snaked.
The house sitter. John Saul Spillers. You did
Y'all
get snaked.
can fight over it next
John
time.
Saul and Spillers is our dentist.
The 30-year-old or the 18-year-old. That says a lot about me.
He's trying to make some extra money. Come on.
Not only that, she didn't even consider
me.
Didn't
not even a shot.
It.
I've seen enough of these off-air conversations where I'm not asking Lloyd.
John Saul Spillers.
Not true. Y'all can
our
all do it
dentist here
together.
on the Jordy Culotta Show. Get in touch with Dr. John Saul and Dr. Spillers, as they've got two locations. Remember, they're located in Gonzales, in Baton Rouge. Easy to find online at johnsaulspillers.com. Our local dentist here, they are helping us out tremendously. Let them help you out. If you need pediatric dentistry, anything that you need, they can even help you with some Botox. Online, johnsaulspillers.com. Great on Facebook, great on social media. We'll be back with more of the Jordy Culotta Show, driven and powered by Go Chevrolet. Are you self-employed? Then you need to learn about Angel Oak's Home Loans Bank Statement program that they're offering, which makes you eligible as a self-employed borrower to purchase or refinance a home without requiring a tax return. If you want to learn more, get in touch with me. Email me, jordy@jordyculotta.show.com, to learn about the bank statement loan program offered by Angel Oak. jordy@jordyculotta.show.com to learn more. Gearing up for spring and summer down here in South Louisiana, and you want to keep your lawn maintained during these sunny seasons, get in touch with our friend Blake Abear over at Abear's Lawn Maintenance, where he says, you grow it, I mow it. 225-485-8022. 225-485-8022 is where you can find Abear's Lawn and Maintenance, the official lawn and maintenance company of the undisclosed location. Go Chevrolet is proud to announce Go Express Auto Sales, the new used car lot located in the capital city of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Go Express Auto Sales is online at goexpressautosales.com, or you can search them on Facebook and social media at Go Express Auto Sales, the newest addition to the family of Go Chevrolet. Remember, Go Chevrolet is located down in LaPlace, Louisiana, but now welcoming aboard Go Express, the new used car lot located in Baton Rouge, Louisiana at 11522 Florida Boulevard. Welcome back into the Jordy Culotta Show on this Thursday morning from the UDL. Good stuff. Appreciate Senator Rick Ward for stopping by early on, giving us the latest on his infrastructure bill and where some of these funds are going from the gambling bill that is seems to be greenlit. I don't know why John Bell Edwards has not signed this infrastructure bill yet.
Quote of the day: 49th. So what?
Yeah, right.
What's the worst that could happen?
What's the worst thing that could happen?
Our water that we're drinking up in here like crazy, brought to y'all by True Blue Water, TRUBLUE.com.
TRUBLUE.
Everybody get that?
Yeah.
Cut out. They'll deliver a water cooler. We go through jugs. I gotta get a video
it cuts
of
out
you.
for us in here, but then it doesn't cut out on the air.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been monitoring it very closely. I don't know what's going on.
Anyway, they'll deliver your water, and Jordy will come by and put the thing
Drink
on
it
the
all.
cooler for you. Drink it all. Bottled water.
The water's
and,
great.
And it is great.
It's so good. It's very refreshing.
And we go through a lot of it.
True Blue Water. True Blue
Any other
Water.
compliments you want to give water?
.com. Michael Kleber wants to know what option are we taking, Hollywood or Santa Monica? I'm going Santa Monica.
All day.
Yeah.
Right. Put me on the beach.
Yeah.
Put me on the beach. Hollywood is so Hollywood. Ugh.
It just feels like that's not the vibe you want to go for when you go to California. Unless it's your first trip and you feel like you have to
Santa Monica, to me, is the coolest
It's more
city.
California than Hollywood is. Hollywood's is a trap.
It is very much a trap. Very much a trap. It is the French Quarter of New Orleans.
Yeah, what do you want to go see Lindsay Lohan's star on the ground? Like, not for me.
I've done it all, though, with the kids. I've taken a picture of every
You have
star.
to do it your first time. I mean, we'll have Jordan with us. I don't think he even cares about
That's what I'm saying. I don't think he would give a shit.
What I mean? I'm going to take him to go see the Rams Stadium.
Oh,
And that'll be
nice.
cool.
I mean, I definitely want to go see that. SoFi. Is it SoFi?
Yeah.
And then the Getty Museum, to me, is my favorite spot in LA. It's overlooking Mulholland Drive. It's up in the Hollywood Hills, and it's a fantastic museum of just art. But really, to me, the best part about it is the scenery, just the views.
You got to get them up to the Hollywood sign. Or just
The
in
Hollywood
front
sign.
of it.
In September, yeah, I mean,
it's the best one.
that'll be great. Chavez Ravine is a great place to watch a Major League Baseball game. Obviously, basketball would be over. That would probably be his first choice.
Staples Center.
To go watch a Lakers game in the Staples Center.
They said it is,
no,
cutting,
it is cutting out.
Not just us.
It is cutting out. So we'll get that technically taken care of.
Did
Yes,
y'all
we
hear
will.
about the McAfee virus for Peloton that people can spy on riders?
I didn't hear about
No
this, but I
way.
read
How
it.
amazing
Billy
is that?
Gates, I know he's got.
I mean,
how entertaining could that be? But like, what are you looking at? Like, think about what they're seeing.
you're
It's
just
just
looking
like your face, like
dead
the
into
first-
somebody's
Yes.
face, sweating into this camera.
I know.
What's the point of that?
don't know,
There's no way you can even get off on that. There's
Well,
not one
it's
person that would be
everywhere.
like, this is my fetish, is to watch
knows?
somebody
Right.
work out. I couldn't imagine that being.
Well, it said
a
they
thing
can
for
also
somebody.
like hack into your system, so I guess that would like they.
Oh,
could
can they like make
change-
it extremely
I
hard
guess
for
they
you? That would be
could.
now I'm in. If you can prank somebody, be like,
Yeah.
turn up the resistance.
Can you imagine?
Because it's hard to get your feet out of the Peloton bike. They give you like these things that click in.
Yeah,
This is all
the
just
shoes.
third-party news. I don't have a Peloton.
I had one.
What happened to it?
I sold it to my trainer.
Wow.
It was great during quarantine, like when we were locked down, but I did like outside of lockdown. I do not like home workouts.
How's the
need
resale
to
value
be
in Peloton?
somewhere. I'm perfect, just like a used car right now in this market.
I mean,
They're expensive. They're not cheap.
I
So
know.
it's transmission. It's that market.
Drop it off the wiener schnitzel and see what happens.
Oh God.
What's the latest?
Hey,
Awesome.
Perfect.
maybe they'll be like, yeah, it's shot, but
Your car is totaled.
here's
what
a
you
Range
wanna hear.
Rover for like $25.
That's what you want to
So the LSU baseball discussion is continuing to roll on. We will give you the latest if anything pops, but as days continue to roll on and no announcements are made, the more it looks like LSU's candidate could still be coaching.
The no announcement is the
good sign.
announcement.
That's right. No announcement is the announcement. So thank you to everybody for stopping here this morning. The Senator, Rick Ward, for Cody Worsham, for Jason Ramazan, for everybody for coming in.
Any thoughts on Efton Reed and Sharif? Highlights?
I mean, Sharif.
I did not.
I think you knew what you had in Efton Reed in the sense of just how very special player, a very unique player. Sharif is somebody that has gone through so much since coming out of Los Angeles as a high schooler 4 years ago, where he was a borderline 5-star, and it finally looks like he is getting back to that playing level of just, I mean, his
That was
athleticism.
awesome.
Forget how good he can be because it's never, oh, Jesus. It's never been able, like, you haven't seen it yet, but all of his highlights up that he was an absolute star coming out of high school.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was a 5-star. So it'll be exciting to see them play together. Anything that pops, we will let you know here on the Jordy Culotta Show. Follow us at the Culotta Show. Enjoy your Thursday. We're back with you tomorrow morning at 7 a.m.